Well, hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you all so very much for joining me. Tonight, we are talking about 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie out of Pima County, Arizona, who was allegedly abducted in the middle of the night. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Mr. Sheriff and a lot more. Did he expect us to just not notice? Well, he's wrong. We did notice. And we're going to be talking about Luke Daly and a lot more. Stick around, a lot to talk about on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace. Smile through pain with a painted face.
And if you know it,
they call me too loud, too much, too strong. But honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my plan, but I'll rise again. Just watch me judged by the gloss, not the cause. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roar, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
mother chickens, let's go.
Hold up, lights on, chat in the room, another late night, and another headline blooming.
Oh, gotcha,
Coffee
gotcha,
gone
gotcha.
cold, but the story got heat, and one little detail keep tapping my screen. Coming in clutch,
Thank you,
the timeline bends. We don't just scroll, we connect loose ends. Somebody said, nah, that's probably enough, but the chat said, Justin, we're coming in clutch. Run that back, don't rush that part. Something felt wrong from the very first start. Different day, same shaky excuse, and the math ain't mathing when we check the proof. I'm not here to play detective for fame. I'm here when the story starts changing names. One clip, one call, one post too much, and the whole room knows we're coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, yeah, the facts stay loud. Truth don't hide when we bring the crowd. Screens lit up and the chat don't sleep. We dig real deep where the stories get steep. Pearls in the chat, lights in the back. Somebody better explain why the story went flat. You could dodge one question, maybe dodge two, but the internet clock what you said don't cue. Wait. Say that again, you said it was there, then it wasn't back then. You said you forgot, but the record got saved. Now the chest wide awake and the room just changed.
Coming in clutch when it all gets strange, when the facts get buried and the tone starts change. We don't need drama, the truth does enough, that's why they pull up, we're coming in clutch.
Late night crew, yeah, we built this thing. One live stream turned to a whole damn ring. Members in green miles holding it down. Whole chat moving like a small town crowd. No fake hype, no lazy spin, just one more clue when we're back again. If it don't sit right, we don't let it slide. We put the detail right up on live.
coming in clutch. Say it one more time. Whole room locked on the very next line. From the first red flag to the final touch, you know where to be, we're coming in clutch.
When the screen fades out and the night gets still, somebody somewhere knows truth comes real. We'll be right here when the next facts drop. Coming in clutch and we don't just stop.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you all so very much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options, anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is August 15th, 2026. It is currently 8 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Bonjour, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We are going to go over some things. And Sheriff Doofy, he's been getting sued lately quite a bit. And I'm surprised the county I'm sure they're not happy. I'm sure the taxpayers are definitely not happy with all that. So we got a lot to get into. Guys, before we get started, if you would be so kind and please do me a big favor and hit that thumbs up button or double tap that screen if you're on the mobile feed. Also, if you would consider sharing this live stream out. I really do appreciate you guys sharing it out. I've seen you guys all over sharing the live streams out. Really do appreciate that. Hit that share button, copy that link, drop it in any of your favorite social media, and on YouTube, consider hyping this video. You get 3 hypes a week on YouTube. They are absolutely free, and you have to do it after the live stream on your phone or your mobile device, whatever that's mobile. Tell a friend, tell a family member, say go over and sub up to Clutch Them Pearls. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Cammy, thank you so much for the treat. Appreciate you, love. Good to see you. Your cat looks so comfy there. Patty Wine, thank you for the floating heart, my darling. Good to see you, babes. Appreciate you. Crystal to the pistol. How you doing, girl? Thank you so much for the silver star. Clippy, thank you for the silver star, my darling. Appreciate you. T-Gun, thank you so much for the clutch, coming in clutch. And thank you for the makeup brush. Joan Marie, thank you so much, my dear, for the floating heart. Edward, thank you so much for the treat, my dear. Appreciate you. User, how you doing? You got the cutest little Yorkie. I swear to you, that just the cutest little Yorkie. Thank you so much for the sparkles, user, and the silver star. Appreciate you, babes. Good to see you. Yes, if you're new in chat, please say hi. Come out of the bushes. The more, the merrier. Everyone is welcome here. Everyone is welcome their opinion on these cases, because especially in this case, we have no idea what happened to Nancy. We just don't. But it's not for the lack of trying. That is for sure. It's not for the lack of trying, because we all certainly have some new information that is out in the Nancy Guthrie case. The flock cameras. We all know what flock cameras is. People have very mixed views on the flock cameras because, people's like, it does invade your privacy. But in times like this, they can be very valuable. And these are things that, go to the Supreme Court and all that, because a lot of people feel violated with the flock cameras. However, one of the things we're going to get to, the smaller things, we're going to talk about the flock cameras tonight, which the maker of the flock cameras said that they would have been glad to have helped out in the Nancy Guthrie case. Yes, some consider, and I get that. You know what I mean? Because we are supposed to, when the, in America, when the Constitution, happened, we didn't have like these cameras like we do everywhere today. I mean, it's cameras everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's on your car, on your person, at a business, on a road or whatever. But I kind of do disagree with the flock cameras when it comes to the fact of like giving people tickets and stuff. I don't like that. I don't like that. I think it should be an officer that gives you a ticket, not some damn technology that, sends you a ticket in the mail. I don't like that. Thank you, Happy Farm Girl. Good to see you, love. Miss Ginger, you doing? Sue, hello. Christy, Miss Kelly Thompson, how are you doing, love? Carol, Green Eyes, Miss Kelsey. You have no idea what the flock cameras are? What the flock? Kelsey, what the flock? Edward, good to see you. Miss Yarika, hello, how you doing? Patty Wine, good to see you. Connie, Ruby, the only little Texas, a tornado, how you doing, sis? We got Miss Julie, just me saying Justin, yeah. I think it is an invasion of privacy. I really do. I don't, I think it's good, like I said, in situations like you're trying to find a real crime, but someone going over, a foot over the white line at the stop sign or at the stoplight, whatever. I don't think you should, come on now. It's ridiculous, I think, with that. Right, dog mama, good to see ya. Lolo, how you doing? Miss Shari, hello, darling. Tina, everyone, good to see you guys. So yeah, let's get into this little thing. Also have a picture of the van that Carlos, the type of van that Carlos drives as well. Let me pull up this right here. Also have some pictures that I find pretty interesting as well. So the Flock founder says technology would have helped find Nancy Guthrie. And it just kind of goes to show you that certainly everything was not done. Everything was not done. Even the fixed wing aircraft where they can go up and, monitor with the traffic patterns and specific vehicles and stuff like that. It didn't go out until 6:30, about 8 hours or so after Nancy went missing. Right? Tepe case used flock cameras. Yes. Yeah. When we were covering Kylie Rodney's case, there we looked at the fire cameras in California. Horace, thank you so much for the Sunday, my darling. Appreciate you very much. Good to see you. You're on camera on toll roads. Sure. Yep. We've got them here. We've got the toll roads here. So, okay, guys, let's get into it. So the Flock founder says technology would have helped find Nancy Guthrie. Flock Safety CEO says the company's camera technology would have solved Nancy Guthrie's disappearance as debate over privacy concerns grow. Amid rising concerns over police departments' use of Flock safety cameras, the company's founder says they believe the technology would have solved Nancy Guthrie's missing persons case. Quote, "We would have solved the case," Garrett Langley told the CEO of Flock Safety told Vanity Fair. I wonder if they did a video on this. Interesting. I was just trying to see if they did a video on this. Okay. So a Flock camera just looks like a regular camera, right? Amid rising concerns over police departments using Flock safety cameras, the company's founder said he believes that the technology would have solved Nancy Guthrie case. "We would have solved the case," Garrett Langley, founder of the CEO of Flock Safety, told Vanity Fair. Quote, 100%, end quote. He added, quote, "There's no doubt in my mind." That's a big statement. right? That's a big statement. 100%. No doubt in my mind, we would have been able to solve Nancy Guthrie's case. That makes me just want to punch air, to be quite honest with you. I just want to punch air when I see that. Pima doesn't have flock, right? In these cases, I think they're very valuable. But Guthrie's disappearance in February, after FBI investigators said she was kidnapped from her home in Pima County, Arizona, footage from the doorbell camera showed a masked man with a gun tampering with the camera around the time of her disappearance. Pima County does not use flock cameras. Guthrie is the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie. Flock recently claimed it helped solve an estimated of 10,000 missing person cases in 2025. However, the estimate was exploited. From a limited self-selected sample of agencies, and its entire customer base attributed it all, quote, missing persons found, end quote, outcomes to flock technology helps, quote, end quote. So, whether their poll was very much skewed when you look at it, because let's be real, over 99%. Hey, Green Eyes, good to see you, love. Green Eyed Pia. Over 99% of people who are lost are thankfully usually found safe. So out of these samples, whether a flock camera helped or not, they just said, they count that as well. So I don't know if that's really fair, but, they want to push their brand and all of that. Okay, Langley's comments to Vanity Fair comes as Flock faces growing debate over its technology. Flock uses a network of cameras that can read license plates and create a database searchable by police departments, right? I don't like that. I just don't like that. It's got a software, right, that reads all license plates, and it goes to the police's database, and they can virtually see where you are, what road you've been on at what particular time as well. I think that's an invasion of privacy. My personal opinion, I don't like that, but I do like it for, like I said, missing persons cases. I don't think they should be sending you tickets in the mail. So yeah. Okay. There's also there have been recent examples of agencies misusing Flock cameras. To address some of those concerns, Flock announced new privacy safeguards, including reducing its recommended data retention period from 30 days to 7. Flock also said it will punish contractuals language with agencies outlining who owns the collected data. The company also said it's using a new offense filter requiring audit assistance, proactive lockouts, and case codes. You will see over the next 6 months a dramatic increase in officers being arrested or fired for abusing Flock because we are forcing our customers to do it now, end quote, Langley told Vanity Fair. Quote, we know because we solved 1 million crimes last year. What it looks like in Flock to solve a crime, and what we know based upon reported abuse and what abuse looks like. So with all of this, there's abuse, right? You have most officers are good, some officers aren't, but nonetheless, with just like any technology, it can be used for good or bad. So now we're going to get to Luke Daly tonight, as they should. Integrity is part of our oath. Absolutely, Texas, honey. Flock cameras on one side are little robots here. They are not hooked to poles, and they are not hooked to poles they are not hooked to a pole and move. They look like Star Wars, really. But I'm sure you have flock cameras that are just on a pole. They just look like a regular camera. I don't even think you would notice the difference. Luke Daly. Very interesting things. Ratui we were kind of talking about it last night. Not only have Luke's Daly's charges have been dismissed, but also his other court fees for all his past cases have now been closed and sent to collections. Yeah. Yep. Looky. Luke Anthony Daly, right? 5 counts here: narcotic rug violation, misconduct involving bins, rug paraphernalia violation, narcotic rug possession and use, and Kayla Day as well, it looks like. What the fuck? What is going on here? This is so weird, guys. I guess I don't know how much he owes. And let's see here. Let me zoom this in a little bit. Let's do it like this, shall we? Okay. This is the case number. This current balance is $443.35. But look, 8/12/26. Debt set off. Updated DSO record sent completed. 1/27/25. Debt sent off. Completed. 12/9/21. Debt set off. Completed. 8/16/2021. All of these. All of them. It says. Isn't that crazy? What, did they get the wrong guy again? Well, it makes me wonder, is it because he's suing them? Is that why we're here? And they don't want to seem biased? Or are they kissing his ass? Right? What's this one right here? One second. Let me look at this real quick. This is Pima County Sheriff, 1/28/26. Look at this one. This might be Kayla's. I'm trying to see if this is Kayla's. Yep, no, it's Luke. This one's current balance, $350. Look at there. Date 1/28/2026. That is just, 2 days, 48 hours before Nancy went missing? Maybe he's an informant? I don't know, guys. I don't know. I am speechless, to be quite honest with you. Speechless on this. Collections, 8/14/2026. Fair notice completed. Katie M., welcome to the Pearl family, my darling. Appreciate you very much, Miss Katie. Love you, darling. Really appreciate you. Thank you very much for the support, Katie. I'll welcome Katie to the Pearl family. Really do appreciate you, Miss Katie. It's either he had information on Nancy and knew something, or it's to do with suing Pima County. That's good. Very good thinking. Very good thinking, Ratui. He might have knew something. Something's up, though. I think we can all agree something is up. I mean, how do you get out of all this? How do you get out of all this? Joan Marie, thank you so much for the hiding sticker, my love. Appreciate you. Thank you, Susan. I can't say hello to everyone individually. Lorette says a big old blanket hello to everybody. But was Luke Daly's warrant federal, or was it from the county level? Good point. Well, let me think here. I believe the warrant was federal in that one, but still they worked together in tandem, right? He would have regardless. Initially, it was Pima County that pulled him over, right? We do know that. Cooperation agreements, the suspect provides valuable assistance or testimony to help solve a more severe crime. Maybe. Kayla Day got one of her charges dropped too. Yep, she sure did. Hello, Lilypad. We are looking at Luke Daly, his charges that he had when he was going to be going to court this month, and they've all been dropped. Everything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was federal. Carlos was state, but Carlos is suing too. But Carlos doesn't really have much of a rap sheet. You know what I mean? He doesn't really have that much of a rap sheet of hers was not as bad. Using ain't as bad as sales. Yeah, I don't know, but Sheriff Doofy, he says, let me show y'all this, by the way. Sheriff Doofy, he says that now, can you clear him, Sheriff Doofy? Can you clear Luke and Carlos? This is a GLS fan, guys. Parcels to people, GLS. I really like Carlos. A lot of people like him. He seems like a likable guy. Sales charges here for MD, gets you life here. Sales charges, like for rugs, or maybe they did. I don't think anybody should go to prison for life for drugs, in my opinion. I think that the prison needs to be for violent offenders. Clear room for the violent offenders. I don't think anybody should go to prison for drugs for 20 or 30 years. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. But that's just me. Okay. 1 second here. So what is y'all's thoughts about that? I don't know, but I feel like something is up for sure there. Okay, look at this. Y'all ready for this? Boom, boom, boom. You know something? I was looking. Oh, let me show you this photo. Someone writes, this has always caught my interest. What is he pointing at? Could it be the flower pot? I didn't realize that this had a bar there. You see him pointing. You see let me make it bigger for you guys. You see the FBI pointing here? right? This is in Nancy's yard. This is like, steps that goes to the pool. They were always looking right here, because your tickets involve criminal charges such as DUI, reckless driving, or driving on a suspended license. A completed collection status is a serious warning sign that debt has likely. Yeah, I think it went to like a debt collection. Been kicked back to the court to initiate criminal enforcement. Remember watching, what was that? Remember watching that when they were at the back? Yes. This is when the FBI came there. Let me fix this bit. Okay. Her mother is lost. She's an enabler and codependent. Oh, goodness. If someone is selling Finney, lock them up. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking more of, the dealers, like the big dealers is one thing, but I'm talking about just your average, someone that's hooked. There was a blood trail that went in front of the house towards Nancy Guthrie's room near Easement Road. Well, they were looking in the front for sure. And then I've got this one right here. Look at this photo so many times. First time I noticed that formation of rocks on the left. Where is Nancy Guthrie? Okay, now look at this one. This is them coming down the steps. We're kind of looking at the other direction now. We're in the pool area right now. And they were very interested in this area. I don't want to make anyone feel bad, but I always look for Ginger because... Oh, that's sweet Susan. Ginger's a sweetheart. Yes, I think he's pointing towards her patio outside her bedroom on the other side of the home. Yeah, well, this... I don't know. We'll look at something here shortly that I'll show you guys. Oh, let me show you this. These are flock cameras right here. Let me just show you this real quick. These are flock cameras powered by solar, and this one's a vandalized flock camera, it said. Right there. Okay. Oh. I got another. I want to show you this because, we're big fans of Annie Guthrie's poetry around here, right? Did y'all ever see this poem that she wrote? It's called Women's Voices Against War. What is a guest? A wish. Make a guest of wisher. A shell makes a guest of the listener. A breath, the host of sounds. We make living soundly. In sea crashes, I'm not reading this whole fucking thing, I'll tell you that. In crest, there is no lack, no sonic, shapely sense of accident or violating. Nothing kept. Not a trace of the driftless makes time. Sticks inside themselves, holding sundials, not telling anything. Let us drown our own. Take our own immediately. Without echo and temper, the speech differs. Fuck that. Sorry. I can't with that shit. Okay. Speaking of cameras, Sheriff Nano said that there is cameras inside the home. I want to play this right here. He mentions this. Listen to this.
Do they have cameras at the home?
They do, and we're looking through some of that. Yeah.
So I was going back today, listening to some of Sheriff Nano's stuff, and now that it's been 6 months, we can see a lot newer things. But he tells us right there, Crystal, love you too, honey. But he tells us right there that there is.
Do they have cameras at the home?
They do, and we're looking through some of that. Yeah.
How do you have cameras on the inside of your house, cameras on the outside of your house, and nobody knows? I mean, we've got a few pictures and video, but how? I mean, come on. Those cameras on the inside and even on the doorbell should have audio as well. They fucked this up, guys. They messed this up big time. That just seems like a random words and phrases. Yeah, it is. It's just they just put 3 random words together. I always say baked beans, douche, and a lawn chair. That's basically what it is. Exactly. Make it make sense. How does this happen? Okay. Let me look at this. Sheriff said Nancy Guthrie's children dropped her off at home Saturday night at 9:45. Why did he say this in the beginning? Why did he say this in the children? And then why change it?
Can you give us a little bit more of a timeline? Because you said she didn't leave on her own. She was last seen at 9:45. She wasn't reported missing until noon. But
I believe what happened there was at 9:45 in the evening, her children left her off. At some time earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, "Hey, your mom's not here." The family went to the house. I'm thinking they spent some time looking for her themselves before they called us. So I'm guessing maybe they got there around 11. So they did some searching and realized we need some help, and they called
Children.
Can you give us a little bit more of a timeline? Because you said she didn't on her own.
She didn't.
She was last seen at 9:45. She wasn't reported missing until noon. But
I believe what happened there was at 9:45 in the evening, her children left her off. At some time earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, "Hey, your mom's not here." The family went to the house. I'm thinking they spent some time looking for her themselves before they called us. So I'm guessing maybe they got there.
And we know that you see what he says there. He says the family spent some time looking for her, and from what we understand, they were canvassing the neighborhood, right? Look at the other guy's faces. He looks, oh, I know. He said he's guessing around 11. Yeah. Someone at the church, your mom is not here. So are you sure about that? I hope that they would have checked with that, right? But look at this. So TMZ, Pima County Deputies Union President, initial Nancy Guthrie team didn't have much homicide experience.
worked very closely with Sheriff Nanos and the Pima County Sheriff's Department. I'm going to be interviewing Sergeant Aaron Cross, who is the president of the Pima County Deputies Organization, and what he reveals about the way this investigation was conducted and all of the gaps in the investigation that were put in place from the very beginning is shocking. He also goes on to reveal personality conflicts within the department between Pima County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, and it paints a very interesting picture and sheds some light on what's going on today. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sergeant Cross.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the invite.
What do you do for Pima County exactly, and what's your connection to the Nancy Guthrie investigation?
So currently I'm a sergeant, and while I'm not in charge of the investigation or in investigations, I'm the president of the union. So I'm kind of the mouthpiece for the deputies and detectives for Pima County Sheriff's Department. We are the largest union of the three.
Walk me through what you were told about the sergeant put in charge that first week of the investigation. He was 6 months as a sergeant, no prior homicide case of his own. Like, who made that assignment, and did anyone flag that beforehand?
No, he was placed in there nearly immediately. He was promoted to sergeant only in 2023, if I remember correctly. So he very rapidly went inside from patrol and then was assigned to homicide. I don't believe he put in for that. Usually those assignments are made by command.
So the homicide guy, he went from patrol to the lead of homicide. And he was the one that was covering Nancy.
So command, for whatever reason, decided that despite the fact that he hadn't been in homicide before, that he was the right person for that unit.
And so of the detectives on the scene, how many had homicide experience, if any at all?
They all had, because they were in the homicide unit, but it was very limited. It was 3 years or less, all of them.
3 years or less. And so would you say they were...
We haven't even heard from the homicide guy, which is, to me, is kind of weird. We've not even, like, the only one we hear from is Sheriff Doofy. We've never heard from the lead of homicide or the detective.
Are novice homicide detectives? Is that experienced in your field?
That's a fair characterization. You need a lot of time in homicide to learn. It's a complicated assignment.
And so 3 years was not adequate in this case?
No. And it was almost unheard of prior to Chris.
3 years? Being an officer, no way. That's usually, you're in there at least 10 years before you're
election. Having someone with that little experience in homicide, if they were brought in, it would be one person being brought in, and the rest of the unit would kind of mentor that new detective, just on the ropes on how to be a homicide detective. I had a former homicide sergeant, a respected sergeant, explain to me that you can't even call yourself a homicide detective until you've been through trial. So it takes a while to learn the ropes.
A lot of gaps.
He hasn't even solved a homicide,
some detectives
let alone been through trial.
Each other what witnesses they had interviewed. Had you heard anything from the get-go about a certain moment, a witness that was missed? Or anything like that? Can you point out a specific gap to us, if any?
As far as missed, I don't believe so. The issue was that it was a lot of duplication of work because we weren't accurately tracking who had been spoken to. And so that was kind of the missteps in that part. The big misstep, in my opinion, the opinion of many of the detectives and people in the community, was just giving up the scene so quickly.
Yes,
I think the next day it was given back to the family. And there was really no reason for that.
You've said that experienced detectives were sidelined because of favoritism. What is this favoritism? And who is perpetuating this favoritism? Is it Nanos or is it somebody else?
I don't know if I characterize it as favoritism. I would say what happened is our two most...
No. Maybe he's scared to talk, but everyone says it's because of favoritism. It's who strokes his ego.
Senior detectives in the homicide unit had been transferred out prior to this because they were handling investigations and they had a suspect for a homicide and they were building the case against him. However, they weren't quite there yet.
You would think.
And so they were making the case to make the arrest. However, their commander, one of Sheriff Nanos's, I would describe him as a favored son, was unhappy with how slowly they were building the case and demanded them to be arrested immediately. And of course, the probable cause wasn't there yet, so they didn't. And as a result of them moving too slowly, in his opinion. They were transferred out of homicide to cold case.
In the Pima County Sheriff's Office, is this something that is a usual occurrence, or?
Very frequent, unfortunately. Very frequent.
Very frequent. Okay. Besides intrinsic tension with the Pima County Sheriff's Office, there was also tension with the FBI. Was there a specific moment or meeting where it became clear the FBI felt maybe boxed out?
For this investigation, that's
Hopefully the
unclear.
state-
I imagine probably pretty fairly.
Hopefully, the state attorney general is going to hold his ass accountable. Hopefully.
Early. It's well known, the sheriff's animosity towards the FBI and why. I believe you had
Seems that way.
former Chief Deputy Castigar explain that in great detail, and that animosity carries on to this day. So, credit to the FBI. They so far have established the best piece of evidence we've had so far in this case with that ring camera footage. I'm not sure where we'd be in this investigation without it, frankly.
I'm glad you bring that up, because I think what a lot of people are looking for right now isn't.
It's really hard to, an elected official is really difficult to get out of office. It's a lot more difficult. You got to remember, he only won by 100 votes. Maybe not even that. It was just a handful of votes that he won by. Magdalena, thank you so much for the flower. It smells wonderful. Thank you so much, love. Hey, Justin, everyone. It's been a while since good to see you, Christine. How you doing, babe? Good to see you.
An update with regards to what evidence either Pima County or the FBI has. Can you tell us, obviously without threatening the sanctity of the investigation, if there has been some kind of a meaningful development?
You are late. You are late. Magdalena to the office, please. You're being paged. Magdalena to the office, please. You're being paged. We need a late slip for Magdalena. And I need a late slip too. I was a little late too, so I can't really see
Development in the Nancy Guthrie case.
Not to my knowledge, but again, I've purposely tried to stay away so I wouldn't risk endangering the investigation by accident somehow. So they're hoping to solve this. Well, I should clarify, the sheriff and command staff are hoping to solve this case, in my opinion, from behind a desk. To your listening audience, the most surprising thing if you drove to Tucson right now would be, save for a single billboard along the freeway, you would have no idea that this crime even happened. There's not posters or reward pamphlets really being handed out. Nothing. Other than a few YouTubers took that upon themselves to do that recently. But typically on high-profile cases like this, and I've helped out in the past, homicide, we would combine both investigative efforts from behind a desk with also street detectives who would get out and speak with our criminal element.
Well, you don't have that here, do we? We don't have that here. Guys, watch the rest of that on TMZ. We're going to go to our friend Brian Enton in News Nation now. Something very interesting here. Nancy Guthrie search DNA evidence, lawsuit, and new questions for investigators. Very interesting interview right here. There you go, YouTubers. No one else. That's it. And they're putting them in jail. Make it make sense.
Months after one of the most high-profile abduction cases in modern times, and Nancy Guthrie's family is still no closer to getting answers.
Because of Sheriff Doofy, in my opinion.
Our new reporting on the mysterious crime is providing a deep dive on the investigation and really just a damning picture of dysfunction at the sheriff's office, starting all the way at the top. According to a lengthy Wall Street Journal investigation.
Yeah, a lot of people ask that, Green Eyes. A lot of people ask that. How did they miss the blood? And they were allegedly at the home and in the neighborhood for almost, I think it was about 45 minutes, and they supposedly missed the blood, right? I don't know. The thing that they, the family keeps saying is, to Sheriff Nanos is, you don't understand. She can't walk anywhere. You don't understand. She can't walk anywhere. But if they truly thought that, from the beginning, why are they scanning the neighborhood for 45 minutes? You know what I mean? Like, why like, if you're telling the police one thing, but you're out searching everywhere for 45 minutes. I mean, I would have called really quickly. Maybe even an hour, they say. I'm starting to wonder if Nancy Guthrie was even home when the porch guy was on camera. I think it's staged. I don't think it's staged. Pima County, again, if you believe Pima County, they say that Nancy was absolutely home. Unequivocally.
And the first investigators on the scene did not think the blood on the porch was a big deal, assuming initially that it was not related to Nancy Guthrie going missing. Now, of course, we now know the test confirmed.
Well, when it comes to the blood, the police in the beginning wasn't even sure. They were like, well, Nancy might have scraped herself, the day before or whatever. I mean, dude, her phone's there, her car's there, her hearing aid's there, her watch is there, her medication's there, the doors are open, her doorbell's taken off, the light is damaged in the back, and you think the blood might be, I don't know, from like the day before? Okay, sure. I say that
it is in fact Nancy's blood, and detectives now think it came from getting hurt during the abduction. The Journal highlights the failure to secure the crime scene, something we've talked about a lot over the last several months, and it's the reason News Nation was able to first get those images of the blood spatter that we showed you right from the front porch. The porch was freely accessible to reporters. I was there. Reporters were able to walk up, delivery people, basically.
There was no yellow tape for the first 3 days. No yellow tape.
Anybody who wanted to walk up to Nancy Guthrie's front door because they cleared the crime scene.
I have never.
The report cites department sources to portray Sheriff Chris Nanos as petty and out for revenge against his rivals. According to the Wall Street Journal, after his re-election victory, he sidelined deputies who supported his opponent, which brings us to perhaps the most damning of all the Journal's revelations. It reports the department's most valuable search tool sat unused in the crucial first hours after Nancy went missing. The Journal reports they couldn't find a deputy qualified to fly the high-tech Cessna search plane because the senior pilot who was scheduled had just been demoted following a workplace complaint. And again,
imagine that. Yeah. The guy who did the aircraft, that it's at 9 hours, he had just been demoted because he supported someone else for sheriff. And it's set for 9 hours. Not until the sun went down is whenever they put the plane up.
And this is something that we looked into and reported on early on with the investigation. That pilot had also supported the sheriff's Challenger, which was an issue for the sheriff. The report hits right as the department faces a multi-million-dollar legal claim. Carlos Palazuelos was detained in February, then released without explanation.
It's embarrassing.
He and his family filed a $3.25 million notice of claim alleging wrongful detention and defamation. And in a News Nation national exclusive, I spoke a short time ago with Jesse Showalter, the attorney representing Palazuelos.
Hey guys, please hit the thumbs up.
Jesse, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time. I was thinking back today to when I was out at your client's house. There was the big raid that night in Rio Rico, and everybody sort of thought that was it, that was going to be who was responsible for what happened to Nancy Guthrie. There was the FBI out there. There were so many deputies. They had the whole road closed down. And then I remember Josefina coming out and just immediately saying, like, this isn't right. They have the wrong person. None of this makes any sense. And I actually believed her. You know, sometimes in that situation, you would think to yourself, like, oh, maybe she's just in denial. But there was just...
That's the thing, Untamed Spirit. And to be fair to Sheriff, Untamed Spirit says, in the beginning, I thought it was said that inside the house was a crime scene. Something definitely happened and homicide was called in. He did say that outside, right? He did say that outside, that he thought, you know, something was definitely wrong here. But that wasn't until that evening. It wasn't until that evening when he did that press conference. That night, actually. Got to remember, Nancy went missing. You know, they didn't learn until 10, 11 o'clock that morning. And so I guess as the day went on, that's when they were like, something's going on here. But the sheriff did say that later that evening. Yes.
Something about the way she was describing it, like, I think maybe she's correct. Have you been able to, up until this point, figure out why
Listen to this right here.
Zeroed in on your client, Carlos?
No, we still haven't. You know, as it stands right now, all of the purported evidence that they used to obtain the search warrant that we think was obtained without probable cause, is sealed, and so we can't look at it, we can't analyze it, and you know, the Sheriff Nanos won't tell us what it is. So, you know, until we're able to do that.
So again, they went to Carlos's first, then they went the next day or the day after that, I can't remember. They went to Luke's and his mom's house. They searched through their house as well and the Range Rover. And now all of Luke's charges have been dropped. Everything. He was supposed to go to court this month. Everything has been dropped. He was already a felon. So why? Now, if these guys have nothing to do with it, you need to clear them. Nanos, you cleared the family and you took Annie and Tommaso's car and searched in their house. So you can absolutely do it. You can absolutely clear them if they're supposed to, you know, if they're clear. You kept Annie and Tommaso's and went in Annie and Tommaso's and kept going over there more than you did with Luke and Carlos.
Until we're able to see the search warrant application and any affidavits with it, we're not going to know what the claims were that brought Carlos to the attention of the Pima County Sheriff's Office, and that's what we're fighting to do.
So even though you haven't seen the search warrant, you know, months have gone by, have you gotten any kind of inkling? Has Carlos come up with anything? I mean, was he in the neighborhood doing a delivery? Is there something that's crossed your desk where you're like, okay, maybe that's where the mix-up came from?
Yeah, as it stands right now, we've not been able to figure out anything.
Hell
you know,
yes.
on the night in question.
Hell yes. If you were a felon and you got caught with a GU and rugs, automatic. He's been in all kinds of trouble.
Carlos was not in that neighborhood. That's our understanding.
Do you hear that? Now his attorney is arguing that Carlos was not in that neighborhood that night. So how the hell did they get to Carlos? I thought Luke was porch guy, or at least involved. They probably offered him a deal. I don't think he's porch guy. I really don't think he's porch guy. But I thought, well, shit, maybe they used his car. Maybe he knows something or whatever. His story did not make a lick of sense. Justin, did you see what Steve, the former CSI guy, discovered with blood drops? I didn't, Julie. Can you send that to me? Can you text it or email it to me, mods? Will you put that in chat, please?
And the reality is, Pima County took Carlos's phone.
Listen.
They did a download on it, and if there actually was anything against him, we wouldn't be here right now. It's from our perspective, it's very, very clear that they made a mistake. What's not clear yet is the precise contours of that mistake. Were they relying on a false tip? Were they relying on maybe bad information from flock cameras? Or
I mean, he doesn't live in Pima County. But they don't have flock cameras in Pima County, period. So it couldn't be bad information from flock cameras, attorney, that I'm aware of. Number one. Number two, you can't just get a fucking warrant because he's got big eyes. This is not, what's the nursery rhyme? Oh, what big eyes you have? 3 wolves or something like that. Come on now. I mean, it's supposed to take a lot to violate your constitutional rights.
Or government databases. We don't know, but we expect we'll find out because we're on the road toward litigation.
Did Carlos give his DNA?
Carlos's DNA was taken by investigators. They did swabs at the scene or at a...
Okay. I figured that they would do that. That's very interesting to know. And that's what I figured they did with Luke as well. But you got to remember, Luke, they also did more DNA in May. And I've shown you guys that, the order for that doesn't make sense.
His house, or I should say down the street from his house. And, and then, like I said, they took his phone, they took his DNA. That's what we know.
I want to play for you, Jesse, something that Sheriff Nanos said just in the last couple of days in relation to who's been cleared and who's not been cleared. Listen to this.
Absolutely, yes. They could come up again. I think I early on said, look, there is no suspects. The family is not suspects.
See, there he goes. Yes, they could come up again. Well, what do you mean they could come up again? What do you mean they could come up again? So is it nothing right now? And again, right there, he just cleared the family. Whenever they took the family's vehicle longer than anybody, they were over at Tommaso and Annie's more than they were at Carlos's and Luke's. Clock it. Thank you so much, Kimchi. Appreciate you, babe. Appreciate you. You can press charges on YouTube and charge them. But if you text and call people despite to find a kidnapped victim and try scam them, you go free. Makes sense, yeah. It's crazy. My IP address was stolen a while back. Is it possible that happened to Carlos, assuming he ain't involved? I don't think so. My thoughts on Luke. Listen, I don't think Luke is porch guy. I'll say that. I don't think he's porch guy. I'm still not sure about him. You know what I mean? To me, there's too many things there with Luke still. That his car, which it can be a coincidence. He just crashed his car. He got that Range Rover, paid cash for it, a cashier's check, which is cash. All they do is take the money out of your bank account and the bank makes you a check. that's 100%, can't bounce. And he lives 2 miles away. He has GUN and rugs. He's allegedly been in that neighborhood many times before. So again, I don't think I don't think Luke is porch guy, but still, his answers don't make sense. It will be a cold case. Unfortunately, ego had destroyed any lead. I'm hoping that the FBI will salvage
They're not.
what they can.
Now, does that mean that ends it forever? No. What happens if next week somebody calls and says, hey, a family member did this, and here's...
Listen to this motherfucker. Listen to him. He is the dumbest thing God ever stretched a piece of skin over sometimes. This sheriff is saying, the family's clear. Right? The family's clear. Now next week, someone could say the family did something and they could come back up. Well, then why the fuck are you clearing anybody? Why are you clearing anybody, dude? I can't with him. I cannot with this man. Listen.
Early on said, look.
Seriously, listen to this.
Sheridan, who's I think I early on said, look, there is no suspects. The family is not suspects. They're not. Now, does that mean that ends it forever? No. What happens if next week somebody calls and says, hey, a family member did this, and here's how I know it? That always opens a door.
That tells me right there that Ashley Banfield was absolutely right with her sources. That tells me absolutely Ashley Banfield, in my opinion, was absolutely right with her sources. And I told you, talking about the lie detector test, I was the first one to bring it out, speaking about that with the source that I have in Pima County. They were absolutely, in my opinion, looking at the family based upon what this dumbass just said, number one. Number two, what they did with all the search warrants and going back the way, in my opinion, Annie and Tommaso behaved. And them running back over there, searching the neighbors, all of that. Then went back from Annie and Tommaso's house to Nancy's house, 2 o'clock in the morning, looking in her yard, looking for something. I mean, talk about the world's dumbest sheriff. I am so sorry, Nancy. I am so sorry, Guthrie family. I am so sorry, humanity.
Because you're eliminated doesn't mean you didn't do it.
What's interesting there, Jesse, is
Sorry, I do my mouse like that when I get pissed off. Did you hear him? Just because you're eliminated doesn't mean you didn't do it. Just because you're eliminated doesn't mean you didn't do it. I swear to God, I think the reason he has a problem with YouTubers is because they'll probably find something way before the fuck he will. Of course it does. Of course it does. If you're eliminated, you didn't do it. That means we know that you could not have possibly had a fucking thing to do with this 84-year-old missing woman. Yes, if you are eliminated, it means we know you didn't do it. It's pretty standard, sir. I don't know. It really is. It's absolute nonsense. He does. He does.
He said that he sort of alluded to the fact in that soundbite that, you know, nobody's cleared, the family could come up again. After he did that interview, though, he did another interview that he put out where he said, no, the family
Thank you, Kimchi.
are not suspects. They are
Appreciate you.
victims in
Let's get
this.
that thumbs up.
But throughout all of it, he has said that
you,
your
Lucky.
client and the other man who was detained at the other raid are not cleared. That at this point, he hasn't budged on that. Why do you think he's doing that?
You know, I mean, the statements that Sheriff Nanos has been making.
I'm sorry, but the attorney, he does. I do the same thing. You're just like trying to find your words, just because of the ridiculousness. I mean, this man truly has the IQ of a dehydrated shrimp at best.
Are really disturbing because it looks like he's just lost at sea. It looks like he's out of his depth. He doesn't have control of this investigation. He doesn't have leads, and he doesn't even have the ability to exercise restraint in his speech. You know, it would be perfectly okay for him to simply say, the investigation is ongoing, we're pursuing all leads, and not continue to cast suspicion on people like Carlos or the other individual who was arrested in Tucson by the FBI.
Nope.
And, you know, I think the reason he most likely walked back the statements about the family is public pressure from the Guthrie family, or, you know, pressure from the Guthrie family saying, what are you doing?
I mean, this is the thing, though. This is the thing. I don't care if you are a trillionaire or you are the homeless person on the street. Family unalives family every single day. Every single day. And if this moron is falling to pressure because of family, and I mean, let's just say, and listen, I'm not saying Nancy's family did this. I'm not saying that because I don't know. But let's just say, you know, he's effed up the scene already. But let's just say they find out someone in the family did this, right? Okay. How is it going to look when this goes to trial, not only leaving the scene within 24 hours and letting virtually anybody go back in the house? And he says, we'll leave that up to prosecutors. But him saying the family is cleared publicly, and then it turns out later on that someone, the family's involved. All they got to do is play that fucking tape. You want to talk about doubt in a jury? You have the sheriff saying nobody is cleared. Then he's saying family is absolutely cleared. You should be ashamed of yourself. And then he says family's cleared, but that doesn't mean this can't come up next week. The defense will eat his breakfast. It's unbelievable how irresponsible this man is. Unbelievable. I mean, you're the sheriff, dude. Like, your words really matter, especially probably one of the biggest cases of our generation. I mean, seriously, it's a huge case. It's not every day that you have, you know, a national figure's mother, 84-year-old mother, gets dragged out of her house at night and dead. Shrimp flavored Cheerios. That's about his IQ. I don't know, Greenhouse.
To me, what I see.
PGH, thank you for gifting a pearl necklace. Thank you, darling. Appreciate you very, very much. Good to see you, my love. If you received that, make sure you give our PGH a big old thank you. Thank you so much, baby. Really do appreciate you. Guys, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button or double tapping that screen if you're on the mobile feed, doing all that good stuff.
Sheriffs are elected officials. They're responsive to voters, and they're politicians. And so this is a politician who's in charge of law enforcement, who's refusing to be accountable, refusing to be responsible, and just kind of trying to stonewall and refuse to admit that the mistakes have occurred.
Appreciate you for joining us, Jesse. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Brian.
And here with me now to talk about what we know so far is Lieutenant Bob Krieger. He's a retired officer with the Pima County Sheriff's Department and former SWAT commander. It's so good to have you on the show. I've been watching you online throughout all of this, making your appearances and talking about the case. You're so well versed in this area and with this department. So first, I want to thank you for being on the program with me today and ask you about these notes and why you think that they were released now. Obviously, they could have been released sooner. Do you think that they were waiting for the 6 months?
Julie, thank you so much, Miss Julie. Appreciate you, babes. Thank you for gifting membership. Really do appreciate you, my dear. If you received that membership, give our girl Julie a big old thank you. Thank you very much for your support, my dear. Really do appreciate that.
Mark. We know that investigators are hoping someone will read the words in the context and say, hey, that sounds like somebody I know. That's how they speak. That's how they.
I did too, Miss Eureka. I remember when the DC sniper was going on, I was afraid to pump gas. I'll never forget that. Because, I will never forget that. Like, everybody was on edge. That was a crazy time. What was that, 2003?
Right. But why did they release them now, Bob?
Well, first off, thank you for having me. And as far as the timing goes, I would imagine the 6 months does have a little bit to do with it. At this point, the detectives, the investigators are doing all they can, and they're just trying to relight some fires. I absolutely agree that somebody knows who did this, who that person on the doorbell camera is. And it's just a matter of them speaking with someone and them coming forward. So it's just trying to rekindle that smoke and get a little fire out of it from the investigative standpoint. And I think the timing at 6 months, this is a long time. And they're hoping that it's going to do that.
Bob, do you believe that these notes are real?
I do. I think those first few that came in, those first few days, from what I heard very early on.
Denise, thank you so much for the Cash App, my dear. Really very sweet of you. Thank you so much.
I heard about this exact verbiage within a day or so of these notes coming out. And I do. I think there's some details in there that leads the investigators to believe that, yeah, those were legitimate. Ones later on, a lot of those that may have went to other media outlets, may have been hoaxes.
That was close.
But again, nobody knows that. So the investigators have to treat them all as real and do their due diligence on following up on each and every one of the notes that they get.
Yeah, I know that you're a retired lieutenant in this very county with this department that is doing the investigation. So I've got to.
I mean, it's no wonder. It's absolutely no wonder that this sheriff has a 99%. His employees has a 99% unfavorability rating with him. You can't blame him. And the 1% are probably just scared out of their minds of getting retaliation from him. They don't like him either. Jeannie, thank you so much, love. Appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for gifting that. Really do appreciate you, my dear. Good to see you. Thank you very much for your support, my love. Good to see you. Okay, here we go. This case is crazy. Well, the thing about it is like it's already a difficult case. It's already out of the norm that any 84-year-old woman gets, yanked out of her house, much less a national celebrity, you know, her daughter's a celebrity. And they could have gotten so much more. They could have gotten so much more footage. We wouldn't have this footage. We wouldn't have this footage today. Wouldn't have these pictures today if it wasn't for the FBI. Because Sheriff Nano said, oh, they can't do anything. Sorry. Well, FBI contacted Google and they went through it and got some of the data. But again, had it been sooner, they could have gotten probably even a lot more. I mean, cameras inside the fucking house, guys. Cameras inside the house.
Ask you about your time with them and what you are hearing on the ground. You're there, you worked in this department. What do you think about the investigation, where we are right now? And obviously we know, look, we can't be told everything, right? There has to be stuff that's kept close to the vest, and that apparently is happening. But we heard the sheriff, Chris Nanos, assuring the public this case is not cold. Kind of feels like it is, but 6 months doesn't necessarily mean a cold case. What are you hearing on the ground from the people that you used to work with that may also be retired that are able to talk about this?
I'm hearing that they're working. The task forces together with the FBI and the Sheriff's Department investigators. They're working it every single day.
Thank you, Amy.
They're doing what they can with the information that they have. They're getting some new eyes on it. I know that investigators were back out in the neighborhood just in the last few days going through areas around Nancy's house, just looking for new things.
You're exactly right. Texas Honey drives an expensive car on a sheriff's salary. And I'll tell you something. I'm not going to say anyone's guilty or did anything. However, I will say that I find it very strange that the FBI was looking into how the spending went. And the one guy that they were looking into died in the neighbor's yard, and Sheriff Doofy would not allow the deputies to interview the wife. They wouldn't allow them to go in the home. They wouldn't allow them to give a statement. I've covered it all. And this is why he has a chip on his shoulder. Oh, there was a lot of alleged misappropriate spending. Oh yeah. You want to talk about just a fruitcake he is.
And that being said, like Sheriff Nanos said, I know that there were so many tips that came in. Those all have to be followed up on. Thousands and thousands of tips, pieces of evidence. So I agree. I think this case is a long way from cold. And I know the frustration that the public feels because it's 6 months in, but that's just the nature of law enforcement sometimes. They can't create evidence. They can't make things up. They can.
Yes. There was some of that, but there was 3 different men.
They only work with what they have. So patience is very important. I know people want answers right now, but unfortunately, in a case like this, it may not come for a week or a month or a couple of years from now. Right. But they're going to keep working it.
I mean, that is just heartbreaking to think about. But and when we think about that surveillance footage that we saw from the doorbell camera, I mean, thank God we had that. I mean, imagine if we didn't even have that. So when we take a look at, the bad guy, we haven't heard from if these notes did in fact come from the bad guy or somebody that knows him. There's been no further communication.
I mean,
what does that tell us? I mean, Savannah is begging for anybody to come forward who might recognize, the syntax. And we heard, one of the notes said we, the other one said I or me. So it's very interesting to now look at it on black and white, the pages of these notes, to look at them. What stood out to you? You said that you've heard some of that language before, but when you saw it for the first time when it was released from the sheriff just yesterday, what went through your mind reading it line by line?
Listen to this right here.
Just that I do think that it was a planned event. I don't think that the suspects, because I do think there were multiple suspects,
Do you
anticipated.
really?
Pardon me?
You think that there's more than one?
Absolutely.
The Pima County Sheriff's Office has finally released the alleged ransom.
I mean, like I always say, I think that there is more than one suspect, but I don't think there's more than one that went in the house. Because we only see the guy on the 11th and the same guy on the night he's at the porch. But I do think someone was in a car somewhere that probably came by to pick them or Nancy up, or was sitting, in a car very close by. And I think he had a walkie-talkie and he's like, okay, come, we're ready, kind of thing. Julie, I have a camera in my home to see my dogs while I work. I don't keep recording on, but I go on and watch. Yeah, more like a surveillance. I think they call that surveillance when it doesn't record. Yeah, Pittsburgh Hospital's amazing. They're great there. My uncle had I'm sorry. Goodness, guys. My take, there is a small group carrying this out. One guy in. I agree. Multiple 2 to 3. I think we all agreed 1 in the house. Yeah.
Notes that were.
I mean, the more people you have in the house, the more likely DNA can be found as well. It increases the risk of you being caught as well.
Supposedly sent by these alleged kidnappers. Now, as you may know, these notes have been the source of more than a little controversy in the months since Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's mother vanished, mostly because...
That's what's the creepy thing, right? This guy is... that he's watching us. He's watching everything. He's hearing everything. And he is still out there.
We still don't know if they're real. And though the cops still won't verify their authenticity because of something that I'm going to get into in just a little bit, it is important to read them in full. So here we go. The first alleged note that was apparently sent on February 2nd says this. Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days. You will need to send Bitcoin in the amount of $4 million USD, United States dollars, interesting, before 5 p.m. on Thursday the 5th. If payment is not received, the ransom will be increased to $6 million US dollars, which will need to be paid by 5 p.m. on Monday the 9th. Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. If payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you. She had a white smartwatch on the floor of the foot of her bed, and the white floodlight in backyard was destroyed. Then you have the second alleged note. Very different tone. This was apparently sent on February 6th, so 3 days before the deadline from that first note. It says, Guthrie family, we did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical condition. We never intended to hurt her. That was not our intention. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart-related. She is buried in nature now. Nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We want your family to know this and hope you can find peace. We are truly sorry. Now, despite the fact that the sheriff's office couldn't authenticate the notes, they are now asking for the public's help in finding whoever wrote them. Said in a press release, quote, these communications reveal distinctive patterns of word choice, syntax, and phraseology that reflect the writer's unique linguistic style. We believe these distinctive linguistic characteristics.
It was either her smartwatch or her phone that would have been connected, which technically once you have it would probably be both, actually, because once you have your smartwatch to your phone, they kind of can all talk. So yeah, probably. Ooh, goodness, Lola, don't do that again. So if the description of the ransom letter gives is accurate and true, why did they not pay the ransom? Meaning the family? I think it's because I get you. I get what you're saying, Rutui. The only thing I can think of is when they wrote that ransom letter, they put the Bitcoin address down. Remember, this was the first ransom letter. They wanted to make sure that this wasn't just another hoax. And that's when Savannah and them did that video. Okay, that's fine, but you need to tell us that she's alive, right? You need to show us that Nancy is alive. And that is when they came back with, even though they said they weren't going to write back, and they said the police can't help you, all of that. But then they wrote back, and that's when they said Nancy is no longer alive, that she is deceased, and there's nothing anyone could have done. Very compassionate. She's, buried in nature now. We're sorry. So I think they weren't able, if you will. I think that they were willing to pay. I just don't think, that first letter came and they needed to know, okay, if you're you're the real person, just show us that you really have her and she's alive. Why would you write an apology note? To save their own ass later if they're caught. Right? You would think that they would show well, of course. Absolutely. You would think that they would show proof, right? But in my opinion, again, I believe these ransom letters came from the person that knows what happened to Nancy. Whether it's the porch guy or his girlfriend or wife or whoever. But I don't think that this was for... I don't think it was for ransom to begin with. Because, first thing when someone writes a ransom letter, right, you're going to come back and say, you're going to reply and say, if possible, and say, hello. Well, okay, we're going to pay, but you need to let us know that you are the legit person, right? And so this ransom guy, he had to know that they were going to come back with that. And they're going to say, well, show us proof. Well, she's already dead, right? She's already dead. Well, okay, that's fine. We'll still pay you. We will still pay you, Savannah and them said, right? We're still willing to do our part. We're still willing to pay you. We still need our mom back. He's not asking for it, right? This guy can still get paid, essentially, for unaliving, or taking Nancy out of the house and burying her in nature. And he's not asking for it. Why, you say? Well, because I think of a couple reasons. I think because, A, if he sends a picture, he's afraid that the data can be tracked. The metadata, number one. What was my second point on that? Second point would be if they put money in the account, right? he's afraid he's going to get busted that way. And if he's going to get busted, right? Like you should, like if this was truly about ransom, these ransom letters, you would think he would have already thought through this, right? Oh, okay, I can ask for Bitcoin, but what am I going to do after the Bitcoin? How can I turn this into cash, into my bank account? Right? Oh, well, they can track that. Oh, well, they can track that. Damn. So it doesn't make sense. Oh my God, it takes us back to the story you told us about Annie Justin. What's that? What did I say? All staged, in my opinion, never made it back to her house. In my opinion, she's been gone way before they claim she's gone. In my opinion, she absolutely made it back to the house. I think they did get her in the early hours of the morning. I think all of that is true. The question is, why was this done to begin with? Yeah, I think sometimes people can freak out and they can try to skew the investigation, right? Like, oh, we can write this ransom letter and maybe get the eyes off of us, that it's, and I'm not saying it's family, but let's say it's family. We'll do a ransom letter and we'll get the eyes off of us. Right? Sell the Bitcoin account for cash, maybe. But that's the thing. Though. Once you cash it out, it has to go to a bank account. They will find that in 3 seconds. They'll find that in 3 seconds. Right? I mean, most people don't, people are into Bitcoin and all that, but they don't, you don't spend Bitcoin. If you're making your rent payment, you don't say, do you accept Bitcoin? Generally, right? If you're paying your electric bill, do you accept Bitcoin? It's not like that. Thank you, Connie. Appreciate you. Good to see you, love.
May be recognizable to someone who knows or has interacted with the note's writer. Now, the cops also asked for tips on anyone with sudden changes in behavior around the time of Nancy's disappearance, including sudden interest or disinterest in the case. That can be key. So does this plea from the police mean they think the notes are real? Is there something in there identifying the sender? Do you recognize something? Or is this just a Hail Mary play from an investigation that has finally hit a wall? Joining me now for a closer look, so happy to have him, Chris McDonough, the director for the Cold Case Foundation. He's also a retired homicide detective and co-host of the interview Room. Good to see you, sir. You tell me, why would they release this now? Why not release it earlier on?
Well, that's a great question, Jesse, but I think obviously what they're trying to do is find a legitimate connection and relationship to the notes and to the suspect at large. Is this a smokescreen?
Really, generally an 84-year-old doesn't piss you off so much where you want to unalive them, right? Like, what 84-year-old generally would piss someone off enough that someone would become homicidal? Unless it is for money, right? Nancy, Nancy, they say, is a firecracker. Like, she's a firecracker. She wasn't afraid to say her opinion on things. She was probably outspoken. But who does it to an 84-year-old? And to me, it feels like it's money related more than anything. But then I say, if it's if it's money related, think about this. I always say statistically, Nancy wouldn't be alive in a year from now anyways, because she's 84 years old. The average life for a female in the United States is about 78 years old. She's already outlived the expected life. If it was, family who was just, couldn't wait any longer, is there an insurance policy? That's the only thing I could think of, is like if someone was unalived, or their policy did an abduction and they thought she was unalived, they would get it sooner. But, waiting for someone to be legally dead, it takes a long time generally. So then I think, well, maybe someone felt really wronged by Nancy, right? Maybe she's given money to family or a friend, a friend's child. Maybe she gave money in secrecy, don't tell anybody, I'll loan you this money, you just need to pay it back later. You need to pay it by such and such time. And they didn't have the money. And many times people get ashamed and they'll do something to a person. It's got to be something like that. Why would Nancy even really need an insurance policy? Well, you do. I mean, you don't know who has policies on who. You know what I mean? Does she have a term life? Does she have a whole life, policy? It's, she may have been paying on a policy for decades. You just don't know. So, Don, thank you so much for the clutch, baby. Appreciate you very, very much. Thank you, love. And hey, Max Italian couple, thank you so much for the clutch, my love. Appreciate you, guys. Not sure where you're getting your information from, but research it. What's that, Fire Girl? Tell me.
Came in because of the attention that was drawn to this particular situation, or if in fact they're trying to establish.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the thing. Okay, so let's think about this. Let's say Nancy. We talk about like the roof guy and the electrician and all of that stuff, right? Okay. How would a contractor, why would a contractor come back into the house and kidnap Nancy? Right? Why would they? Fire Girl. Okay, 81.5. Thank you for Googling that and telling me, Fire Girl. Appreciate you. So she still outlived her age. You proved my point. Same thing. Okay. Anywho, so why would a contractor come out and unalive people? Now, it happens all the time, right? It happens all the time. But the only thing I can think of is if they're just fucking serial unalivers, right? Or if there was a problem with, things didn't go as planned. Sometimes these small businesses, it can bankrupt. a company. You know, they're literally one job away from, you know, let's say the roof wasn't up to par. You know, just an example. Not saying this happened. The roof wasn't up to par, and Nancy said, "You know what? You're going to fix that roof, or I'm not going to finish paying you." Now that happens all the time, right? I can see something like that, or, you know, the electric upgrade or whatever. But that's the only way I can see someone doing that. Yeah, she just had her roof put on not too long ago. She certainly just had her electric upgraded a few weeks prior. I know, Hubo. I'm sorry, baby. I still think, in my opinion, Tommaso and Annie are involved. Her taking an Uber is another red flag, in my opinion. After hearing Serena Guthrie say her mom is in pain all the time. Yeah, I think the Uber could be a very convenient aspect, right? Thank you, Donna, for the flower, my dear. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, love. I don't understand how she can't make it to the mailbox, but she takes an Uber on her own. Well, I mean, I can understand that. You know, she just walks to her car, you know, hops in and sits in an Uber, and it drives her there. In my opinion, though, if Nancy had money all in a trust, she wouldn't need to be found for a successor trustee to be named. Just an FYI, I think her stuff was in a trust that cannot be taxed. Yeah, but she would still have to be declared. You know, unless there's a clause in it, you know, that she's doesn't have to be deemed dead, right? Like she was incapacitated or kidnapped and not found. Perhaps, right? But even with like a trust or something, well, I mean, it can be like, you know, in 2026, you know, the family can have it, you know, dead or not. But yeah, I mean, there could be some clauses there. The 56 minutes will always be a red flag to me about Annie and Tommaso. To me, it is as well. I'm not going to lie, because again, they said, you know, we kept telling them, Nancy, you know, mom cannot make it to the mailbox most days. You're not listening to us. She can't go anywhere. Well, if y'all were there 56 minutes, you know, searching around, then, you know, canvassing the neighborhood, and you know she can't walk anywhere, you know, it's a little, you know, contradictive. Right. No one is that busy that they can't drive 4 miles to pick up their mom. I don't know.
Are these legit?
But they don't have anybody. In other words,
I mean, to me, you know, you talk about the, you know, they could have come picked her up or whatever. But then you look at it, you're like, damn, Tommaso could have walked her inside. And, you know, I can't imagine somebody that can't walk good, that you're not walking them inside and at least getting them to their chair or to their bed.
if they knew this was 1 or 2 people, they wouldn't be making it public. So I don't feel like they have anybody in mind.
Yeah, no, I concur 1,000%. And what's interesting is the structure of the particular notes as a whole. I mean, I've been hammering it all day on some things, and I kind of want to point a couple of things out to you.
Please.
First of all, note number 1, Nancy is mentioned just one time. in this whole entire conversation between note number 1 and note number 2. And the reason that's important is the following. The word we in the very first paragraph there is mentioned 2 times. We have.
Mini Panthers, how you doing, darling? Thank you so much. I would love to know if she had a term life insurance. Yes. And if so, the end date. If someone was counting on a payout and knew the details, in my opinion. Love you. Thank you so much, my dear. Yes. Could be. Could be. It's possible. It's very possible. But again, but let's think about that. Let's think about that. I totally get and take what you're saying. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate so we can make our argument stronger. If she had a term life and let's say it was getting ready to be expired, right? Once she hits, a certain age. You got to remember, she just had a birthday though, right? She just had a birthday. So she just turned 84. It might have, let's say if she had a term that ended when she was 85, they still had virtually another year. If that's the theory we're going with. Right. Now, another thing, let's say, she had a term life and they did something before the term life was ended. Again, you still kind of have to wait until they're declared deceased. Probably, unless there's a clause in this, insurance policy, like if you're abducted and found or not found, they'll pay out. She might have had yes, Nancy liked her. What did she like? What kind of drink? I think tequila.
We will. Okay. The word she is mentioned 6 times. She is safe. She will be held. She will be released. She will be released again. She will be killed.
He's 84, right?
Now, the other really interesting thing is the word received is mentioned 4 times. Is received, right? Not received, is received. And one of those received is spelled incorrectly down there where if payment is not received. So it's almost like the note writer was into a...
We're going to go to, I want to show you a couple things here. Someone sent this to me before we get to the next thing. I just want to show you this real quickly. This is the flock camera.
Be
that
alarmed.
They were talking about.
This is a DAX bot here to help city officials ensure Hilton Head Island meets the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act and is safe for all members of the family.
Can you show off some tricks?
The city of Hilton Head and Bureau Veritas partnered to use 3-foot-tall DAX bots. They're autonomous and GPS coordinated. They travel pathways and sidewalks, collecting data and measurements. Town leaders say they're doing the work in about 1/3 of the time it would take a person to do it, measuring about 6 to 7 miles of sidewalk a day.
We have 72 miles of pathway or more. So each piece of pathway would have to be measured with a level, measured for width, measured for its slope and all of that. So it takes a long time individually as a...
Oh, those don't issue tickets though, right? That's just kind of like a measuring bot. So that would mean she had been drinking prior to dinner or planning to drink. She probably had some for tequila there. I would say at Annie's then. Okay, now I want to show you something right here. because our friend Brew Crew, he made a very good point here about the vehicle. Might be 717. About why did they keep Annie and Tommaso's vehicle for 40 days, right? And that's what a lot of us just can't get over, it seems like. And he is, of course, former law enforcement and judge. Brew Crew Beyond 50. Make sure you guys sub up to our friend Judge. I call him Judge Brewer here. I like his accent.
Police holding a vehicle for 40 days doesn't mean that they found something incriminating. And that's important to know. There are innocent explanations for lengthy evidence retention. There can be laboratory backlogs. There could be search warrant issues and coordination between agencies. Specialized forensic examination and digital extraction problems are just simply investigators being unwilling to release something until they're satisfied that they've completed the examination authorized by law.
Now, the thing about Annie and Tommaso's vehicle is it was an older vehicle, which when I say older, I'm talking about pre-2015. They don't have they all don't have the black boxes, if you will, the telematics that 2015 and older have. So that could be why they kept it longer as well.
Which we can go back to the first 24 hours and question why they did what they did then, because after 24 hours or so, they released the scene and then had to go back.
Gotta live.
So why did they do that in the first 24 hours? But here they seized the vehicle and kept it for 40 days.
Listen to this.
I don't know. Here's the other side. You know, law enforcement, they generally don't want to store somebody's vehicle indefinitely.
They charge
evidence. It has to be documented. Property has to be secured. Chain of custody has to be maintained, and the government has to, you know, they have to have lawful authority for what they're doing. So the better question isn't, what did police find? We don't know that. The better question is, what were investigators trying to rule in or rule out?
Very good question. And I'm going to kind of add on that and just say, oh, thank you, Miss Julie. Thank you for the GOAT trophy. Didn't know I was a GOAT. I'm a GOAT. Appreciate you very, very much, my dear. Thank you for that. That's very, very sweet of you, my friend. Really, really do appreciate you, Miss Julie. Minnie, sorry I missed that earlier. My term life ends the date I signed in 30 years. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, very interesting. Sorry, they got my brain scratched. I need to flashback this so I can remember
that. The better question is,
okay,
what were investigators trying to rule in or rule out?
Yes. Okay, this was my thought. Okay, so think of this. Annie and Tommaso. The thing for me that I just have a hard time getting over, and again, I don't know who did this, but the thing I have a hard time getting over is we know, according to Pima County, that Nancy absolutely 100% made it back to her home, that she was dropped off, right? And that Nancy went inside, and about 3.5 hours later or so, someone takes her out of the home, right? After Nancy was dropped off, garage door went up, Nancy went in, garage door came down. Tommaso went back home, right? Went back home. I'm assuming he goes in the house, goes to bed shortly after, right? Right. Okay. They know that Nancy made it home, right? If Tommaso did what he said, dropped Nancy off, went back home, went to bed, and that car never moved another inch that night from his driveway, why are they searching it? Why did they search it? If you know that car did not move through cameras, right? Nobody in or out of that neighborhood, you know, there's cameras in the neighborhood. I think they even have, you know, why? That's the question. They should be able to easily say if Tommaso or Annie left that home, their home, that night. Thank you, Nikki, for the high five, my dear. Appreciate you very much. Thank you, Nikki. Good to see you. Yeah. Right? It should, you know, I can still, you know, perhaps seeing, you know, looking in their home or whatever, but like if Annie and Tommaso were not seen leaving their home that night at all after Tommaso gets back, why are they looking inside their home? Why are they taking their vehicle? And that's a big problem I have. I think someone else had access to it. Well, who? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think their kids are old enough to drive. I think maybe one of them's old enough to drive. But there's cameras in their neighborhood. They may even have cameras at their house. I can't remember. Neighbors or the store outside of their road. Why? Okay.
That justified keeping access to that vehicle? That's a much more interesting question. Now, imagine investigators seize a vehicle during the early stages of a kidnapping investigation. The first examination may be relatively straightforward. Photograph the exterior. Photograph the interior. Document what's visible and look for obvious stains. Look for weapons, clothing. Look for items belonging to the missing person. But investigators, they develop reason to believe that, you know, the vehicle could be used to transport Nancy Guthrie or someone involved in her. But if investigators develop reason to believe that, you know, that vehicle could have been used to transport Nancy Guthrie or someone involved in her disappearance, now the examination can become much more involved because you're no longer just searching a car. You're processing a potential crime scene. And we've talked about it before, different crime scenes. The residence there at Nancy's place, that is the first crime scene. If Nancy was placed in a vehicle, that's another crime scene. And if she was transported to another location, that's your third crime scene. There could be numerous crime scenes associated with the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Now, if you're processing a potential crime scene, seats may require examination. The floor mats can be removed. Carpeting can be inspected, and seats track matter. The tracks. The cargo area matters. Door handles matter, and seat belts. The spaces between cushion,
seats,
all that matters. And investigators, they may be searching for evidence so small that nobody would notice it during an ordinary search, such as hair and fiber, a biological stain.
Listen, does anyone remember? I'm pretty sure that Annie and Tommaso's vehicle, does it have leather seats or does it have cloth seats? Does anyone know? Is it just me, or does it look like Porch Person was even talking to someone through the storm? No, I don't think he was. He like kind of glances, but no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me pull that picture up. I'll pull that picture up and see if I can find
a tiny transfer of material, something trapped underneath a seat or transferred onto a seat belt, something deposited inside the cargo compartment.
Seat belts can tell a lot.
And here's where this gets especially important in Nancy's case. If you're trying to determine whether an 84-year-old woman was ever inside a particular vehicle, you aren't necessarily just looking for something dramatic.
They were leather?
You may be looking for transfer evidence.
Tan leather seat.
And that can take time. This may be the most overlooked part of this entire discussion, because people think about DNA when they think about forensic evidence. They think about fingerprints and blood, hair and fibers. But, modern vehicles, they can contain another category of evidence, and that is digital evidence. Depending on the make, the model, the year, installed.
Yes, but and he's absolutely right. And that makes me wonder, is that why they kept Annie and Tommaso's vehicle longer? Because it is a 2010. It doesn't have the telematics that a 2015 or older or newer would have, rather. In Australia on the Gold Coast, we are having a flight. Oh, nice. Not sure what model theirs is, but the EXL has navigation.
Systems,
this is a 2000.
Paired devices and available data. Investigators, they may potentially examine information associated with navigation, phones connected, vehicle events, and other electronic modules. Now, I'm deliberately saying potentially because not every vehicle records the same information, and not every piece of information, people claim cars record is actually available in every automobile. But when it is available, that information becomes extremely valuable, because investigators may be trying to answer something very simple. Where was this vehicle during the critical window? And then they start comparing. Does the vehicle information match what witnesses said? Does it correspond with surveillance video? Does it fit phone location information that investigators lawfully obtained? Does it fit the timeline? Does it contradict the timeline? That's when a car stops being transportation and it becomes a timeline. Now, here's a scenario that I want to consider. Not as an accusation against anyone in this case, but as an example of how investigators think?
Well,
suppose
I think it could take longer because of it's an older vehicle and the telematics. They don't have like the turn by turn.
Someone tells police, I was home all night. Their phone appears to support that.
Here he goes. He's going to say exactly what I've been saying for such a long time. Listen to this.
The phone stayed at the residence.
Listen.
At first glance, that sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But what if investigators later determine that the vehicle moved?
Bingo.
Now you've got to...
Right. And so, listen, if you don't take your phone everywhere you go, that habits are very important with all of us, and especially in true crime. If you are a person that leaves your cell phone at home, but you take your car a lot of places, that's going to show that it's not unusual, right? But if you leave your phone home that night and you take your vehicle out, and that's very unusual habit for you, then they're going to be asking more questions. No, I don't think so, Maurice. Right?
Discrepancy. It doesn't automatically mean that a crime occurred because someone else...
I mean, like some 2008 Toyotas and 2010 Hondas and stuff, they do have like navigation in there as well. I'm just saying that 2015 and older, or younger, I always say older, 2015 and up, they have a hell of a lot more telematics than a 2010 or a 2012 or a 2008 as well. Also, with the telematics, the way your vehicle records things, the best way I can tell you is they don't record things evenly. Case in point, Barry Morphew. They had a lot of him on video throwing out trash and all that. They had him in certain areas, but his telematics did not, it did record it, but it overwrites unevenly, if that makes sense. And they did not have him where he allegedly buried Suzanne. That had already overwritten at that point. So, and he had a very new vehicle. They couldn't find Suzanne. He used his damn truck. They knew what, where, if he turned left or right out of his driveway and all that. But he had traveled so much that day and a couple days after that, it had overwritten where he actually put Suzanne, allegedly.
Could have driven the vehicle. There could be another innocent explanation, but investigators, they are going to want that explanation, and that's why digital evidence becomes so powerful.
Oh, and I'm sure that they've looked at Nancy's phone about that day, right? I'm sure that they've checked her heart rate until she took that watch off that night, right? Like, let's say Nancy, she left to get in her Uber, her heart rate is going to increase because she's walking, right? Then she's going to sit down, so it's going to be a period of where her heartbeat is at rest, right? She's going to get out of the vehicle and go into Annie and Tommaso's house. Her heart rate is going to increase, and they're going to see how her heart rate was throughout the period of her being at the house. and vice versa. When she gets out of the car with Tommaso, her heart rate should increase, right? Going into the home. All of that until she takes that watch off. When did she take the watch off? Did she take it off right before bed? Did she sleep with it on? And did someone take it off of her and throw it in the floor? Don't know. But it will tell. Magdalena, thank you so very much, my love, for gifting a pearl necklace. Really do appreciate you, my lovies. How you doing? Make sure you thank our dear Magdalena for gifting you that membership. Thank you very much for your support, Miss Magdalena. I have a 2014 Camry. Am I good? I mean, you still got some telematics there. It's just not as detailed as what we have today, right? Like my vehicle, it's got freaking satellite radio. It's got OnStar. It's got the telematics. It's got Wi-Fi. I would be fucked.
Humans forget. Humans estimate, and they make mistakes. And yes, sometimes humans lie. Machines, they're not perfect either, but when investigators can corroborate one independent data source against another, they can begin building or dismantling a timeline. Vehicle data.
Pertaining to what?
Phone data, doorbell cameras, traffic cameras, and business surveillance.
Yep.
License plate reader information, if available. I know that that's not available in all locations, but they're getting there. And then you have witness statements, financial transactions. All of those pieces can potentially be compared. And that's where 40 days starts to look different. Because, you know, investigators, they may not simply have been examining a vehicle. They may have been trying to place that vehicle inside or outside the timeline of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. So this is where I think a lot of confusion has developed in this case, because the word cleared gets thrown around far too casually. Someone gets questioned and released.
Yes.
They were cleared.
Yes. Yes, and that's the thing, Clippy, right? Would that Nest camera record audio? My Ring does. Yes. You know, maybe they do have the sound, they just didn't share it. Think about the inside of her home, right? Those cameras inside would have audio as well.
Someone's property gets returned. They were cleared. Someone cooperates with police. They were cleared. Those things are not necessarily the same. And we've already seen why terminology matters in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. There is a tremendous difference between we don't have enough evidence to hold this person. We do not currently consider this person a suspect. This person is cooperating, and we have conclusively eliminated this person from the investigation. Those are very different.
Well, that was one of my big questions. You may have answered this before, but was her camera connected to where the family could see, like if a Ring camera went off? So that was a big question for me. On the dispatch, they said that they did not have access to her cameras, which to me seems like BS. To me, it's like you care for your 84-year-old mother daily. Like, I would want access to at least a couple cameras inside, maybe not the bedroom or whatever, but I would want to see if my mom was moving around, that she hadn't fallen or whatever. She couldn't get to the phone, but they said they didn't. Thank you, Share Cares, for the silver star, my love. Appreciate you very much. I think A&T would get a notification from the outdoor and indoor cameras, but deleted notifications video, in my opinion. Don't know. They say that they don't.
Statements. And investigators can release a person while continuing to examine evidence connected to them. That's not contradictory. People and evidence operate on different timelines. You cannot necessarily detain someone indefinitely while you wait weeks for forensic testing. So someone being released does not mean every piece of evidence collected during that portion of the investigation immediately becomes irrelevant. And that's a major distinction here. Now, I've seen this question repeatedly. Could police publicly make someone feel
how do we know they got in her phone
while secretly continuing to investigate?
How do we know that the family got in her phone, though? I don't know if we know that or not. They would have access once they unlock her phone. I mean, yes. The cameras inside, they said they only had, from what I understand, they only had a little bit whenever, right before the police showed up. That's all they had, was just a little, and they had some thumbnail clips. Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Law enforcement absolutely uses strategy when dealing with suspects, witnesses, and persons of interest. But I would be extremely careful about.
Baby, I've already been reporting on it. Yeah, I did a whole live stream yesterday. On it. I'm actually I'm making a video tonight. I'm going to be recording a video tonight on it as well. Thank you, Miss Dolores. You're so sweetsies. Thank you so much, Miss Dolores. Much love to you, my sweetsies. Love you, Justin. Love you, Pearls. We love you, Miss Dolores. Thank you so much, honey. Appreciate you. Very sweet to me. Thank you. Hi, Justin and Precious. Pearls coming in. Yeah, you think you're just gonna waltz in here? Don't waltz in here, don't you, Miss Babs? Oh, nay. Miss Babs to the office, please. You're being paged. Miss Babs to the office, please. You're being paged. Do we need a late slip for Babs? Please, mods. Thank you so much.
Taking a public statement and automatically concluding that they're lying because they're secretly watching this person. We don't have evidence of that here. There is a much simpler possibility. Think about how quickly everything was happening in those first days. Nancy disappears. A crime scene is identified. Evidence is collected and people are interviewed. Vehicles and property become subject of investigative attention. Information is coming in. Tips.
The Horsch guys, the father and the son, they are probably two of the most evil people I've ever heard of.
Are coming in by the thousands. Investigators are testing theories.
And yeah, I did switch it to members only. The live stream I did yesterday. Thank you. That's probably why some of y'all didn't see it. I did switch it to members only because it was so graphic. I didn't want to get in trouble from YouTube with it. It was so graphic. So that's why. But I am doing a video on it tonight, and it won't be. You'll get the gist of it. We had a rental when getting oil changed, and it literally drove itself. My son put it on. I was like, no. Oh yeah. You get used to it. Once you have a self-driving car, you get used to it really quickly. At first, you're like, there is no way I'm letting this car drive for me. In 2 days, you're like filing your nails, you're like getting your drink, and you're halfway asleep. Yeah, you'll get used to it real quick.
Those theories are going to fail. That's normal. A lead can look extremely promising on Monday, but be substantially weakened by Friday. That isn't necessarily police incompetence. It's just investigation. The question in Nancy's case is whether some early investigative assumptions consume.
No red-blooded American would ever drive a self-driving car or vehicle. Well, they're American-made, Terry. They're American-made.
Valuable time before investigators realized that they were headed in the wrong direction. That's worth examining.
All cars are going to be self-driving pretty soon.
Now, I'm going to flip the entire argument around because this possibility matters too. What if investigators held that vehicle for approximately 40 days and found nothing connected to Nancy's disappearance? That result would still have investigative value. Sometimes the purpose of forensic testing isn't to prove.
I mean, my car's not self-driving. I drive a GMC, a gay man's car.
Somebody did something.
You know what I mean,
to
Terry?
eliminate possibilities.
You hear me?
No relevant DNA or trace evidence. No meaningful digital information. No timeline discrepancy.
Yeah.
Nothing connecting Nancy to the vehicle.
Yeah, my husband's old Tesla. This is before they had cameras in them, and you could literally do anything as long as you touch the steering wheel. Every so often, but the newer one that he has, it has a camera there, and you can't do shit. It's so annoying now. Now you have to be like this, looking at the road. It's ridiculous.
That can help investigators move away from one theory and redirects resources toward another. That's why I don't want anyone watching this video to hear 40-day impound and automatically translate that into police found evidence, because we don't know that.
Really?
The length of the hold tells us that there was investigative activity. It doesn't tell us the result. And that distinction matters. Now, there's actually something about this that interests me more than whether investigators found DNA in that vehicle. What did investigators believe during those first few days? I've raised this before, and I keep coming back to it.
I don't know.
Look at the speed of the investigation early on. People were being detained. People were being searched. Vehicles were being examined. And law enforcement was moving. That tells me that investigators were following information that they believed deserved immediate attention.
Yeah, they're crazy.
But months later, Nancy still hasn't been found. So something changed. Either those early leads didn't produce what investigators expected, or investigators learned something that forced them to reconsider the original direction of the case.
Fabulous, exactly.
Or there is information sitting behind sealed warrants and an active federal investigation that the public.
Yeah, so he's talking about the sealed warrants there, and that's what what's his name, Luke and Carlos are fighting over right now. They're not wanting to show the warrants, and my blood is glitter too. They're fabulous. That's why. How are the cars causing crimes? I'm in a bubble. Oh, they're talking about the Waymo's cars. The Waymo's, I think it's what they're called. They are self-driving taxis. You sit in the back, and you punch in your phone where you want to go, and it sends it to the driverless person, and they do some, some crazy things sometimes. I won't even use cruise control in my car. I have to be in control. Oh God, I use my cruise control all the time, especially when I'm traveling like long ways. I just
simply does not know. All three of those possibilities deserve consideration. This is why those search warrants matter so much, because the probable cause affidavit can potentially tell you what investigators believed then. The forensic results tell investigators whether they were right.
What, your cruise control?
Those are two completely different things. And if much of that material remains sealed, we're looking at the outside of the investigation, trying to understand a picture that law enforcement may already see much more clearly.
Well, I hope they see it more clearly. For God's sakes, I hope they see it more clearly. Well, there's cruise control, like you know the cruise control, like when you have it on cruise control, and then like you get up to another car and you got to hit your brake or take the cruise control off. That's cruise control. And then there's adaptive cruise control, where once the vehicle gets up to the car, you can be 1, 2, or 3 car lengths behind, and it will automatically decelerate. I'm thinking all sorts at this point. God forgive me. I've even considered Savannah knowing Annie. I don't think one thing that what's her name, Kathy Lee Gifford said the other day. She said, I know what I think, and I pray to God I'm wrong on it. And everyone thought, oh my God, the family. Does she think it's the family? But then I thought, could it be something else? So I think so too. I don't think that it's this big conspiracy. I think most things in human nature, human behavior, and in crime is generally the most simple out of them. I never had a chance to drive cruise control driving in New Jersey. It's like an obstacle course on steroids. Oh my God, yeah. I've driven in New Jersey and New York, and I'll do it every day. I'd end up in jail. It's 1979 pale blue Volvo station wagon. My first car was a 1982 Chevette. I paid $150 for it from a drunk. Title and all. Yeah. No power steering, no power, nothing. If you wanted air conditioner, you rolled down the window. If you wanted heat, you lifted the hood and pulled the cable. Oh Lord. The tires were like this big on it, on that little Chevette. It's just my mind trying to make sense of what I can't. Wait, that's natural. What happens, our minds need to make sense of what it is. Your first cars are great stories, yeah. NBC and other media outlets had been advised not to mention family members. Yes, that too, Ratui. Kathy Lee Gifford, she said, I was going to talk on this, and she said, the family called me and said that they wish I would not speak on it. So, like the Rusty Chevrolet song on Christmas. The Rusty Chevrolet song on Christmas. I don't know that song. You got a silver Chevette. It's funny. I have wipers on, flipping headlights, hello, and sprayers. Those were good. I think the Volvos and stuff had those. They have way more information than they have released. Since the FBI has taken over, they won't arrest anyone until they have a solid case. Doofy jeopardized a lot of evidence. Well, he's made it really hard for the prosecutor and made things a lot better for the defense. That is for damn sure. Occam's razor just incorrect. The simplest explanation is usually the correct one. Not always, but mostly, yeah. And, you know, a lot of people, they want to make things a lot more complicated with a lot of additional steps to fit to fit what they think. And that's just not the way it works. Just not the way it works. Why didn't they want Kathy speaking on it? What's the problem? Well, exactly. Why they're calling, again, think of, Nancy's church members. They're not, what the hell are they doing? They've been asked not to speak. Nobody, why do you not want people to speak about Nancy and say what an amazing woman she was? Listen, no family is perfect, okay? So we need to stop acting like that. No family is perfect. There's problems in every single family and all of that. But it's like, are they afraid something's going to come out that they don't want out, in the family or something? I don't understand why the family doesn't want anyone to talk about it. That is sad and really sus to me. Right. I know, you would, and I get it. When you report the news, you're not supposed to be the news. I get that. And I get that it's uncomfortable for reporters to talk about themselves like that. And they try to keep a pristine image and all that. And I'm like, but this is can they not talk about just what an amazing person Nancy was? Just tell stories about who Nancy is, right? My first car was a 1965 old Cutlass Supreme Oldsmobile. 4-hour dinner. She vanished after being dropped off by family. Same family is first on the scene before cops. Maybe it really is that simple. 56 minutes makes me think Auntie knew Nancy wouldn't be there, ? Again, if I said that there was things that I didn't find suspicious, I would be lying to you. But then again, I think it could be anything. Savannah doesn't want dirty laundry out there. I think that's what it is. I think she wants to keep her image as pristine. I think it's human nature as well. But is that, I don't even think it's so much about Savannah. I think it is indirectly, but do they not want things on Tommaso and Annie out that, because their family, she would maybe indirectly be judged? My opinion that Savannah is probably trying to live her life while dealing with her loss of her mom. Everyone grieves in different ways, but A&T seems to go around like nothing happened. I don't know. Many folks drive a stick these days. Well, standards are way more popular in Europe than they are here in America. They used to be a lot more popular in America, but now in America, it's hard to find. You know, very few of them have. I think they're called standards. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for me for tonight. I'll probably be dropping a video tomorrow about noon. I'm going to try to get it out and get it edited by tomorrow at noon. And we'll be, of course, live again tomorrow evening as well. So we'll probably be talking about Nancy again tomorrow, and maybe another live as well. We'll see. Maybe 2 lives tomorrow. We'll see. Having a standard car is the millennial anti-theft device. I had a Honda Passport that was a standard. I hopped everywhere. I didn't drive everywhere. I hopped everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. I was not good at it. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you. Lord willing, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully something, good happens in this case. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, guys. Yeah. All right, guys, get some rest. You only get so many trips around the sun. Thank you, twin mommy. Thank you. I wanted to say thank you before I left. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I do appreciate you. You have twins? That's amazing. So do I. It's amazing. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Really do appreciate you. Take good care of yourselves. You only get so many trips around the sun. Good night, everyone. God bless.